You aren't tired because you're working too hard. You're tired because you're working for a life that isn't yours. While you're hitting the snooze button at 7 a.m., the people who own your industry have already been awake for 2 hours. They're building empires while you're chasing dreams in your sleep. Success isn't about luck. It's about owning the dawn. In the next 90 days, you can either keep rotting in a dead-end job, or you can take back the 2 most important hours of your day and change your destiny. I'm going to show you exactly how a broke night shift security guard changed his life and doubled his salary in just 3 months with one simple habit. If you want to stop living like a ghost, watch until the end. Your exit door starts at 5 a.m. Look at yourself in the mirror. You think you're busy? You think working 10 hours a day makes you a hero? Stop lying to yourself. Most of you are just professionally busy. You spend your whole day responding to other people's messages, solving problems for your boss, and chasing goals that aren't yours. You're like a race car revving its engine in neutral. You're making noise, you're burning fuel, but you haven't moved an inch in 3 years. This was Thomas's life. At 32 years old, Thomas was trapped. He lived in a tiny one-room apartment where the ceiling fan clicked like a countdown to a bomb that never went off. He slept on a thin mattress on the floor, soaked in the sweat of a man who had forgotten how to dream. Thomas worked the night shift at a massive, freezing warehouse from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. Every night, he walked 4 miles just to sit in a small booth and stare at security cameras. He was paid just enough to not starve, but never enough to actually live. The most painful part of Thomas's life wasn't the work. It was the walk home. Every morning at 6:15 a.m., as the sun began to rise, Thomas walked against the grain of the world. He was like a ghost moving through a living town. He would pass the windows of suburban homes. He saw the people of the light. He saw fathers in clean white shirts laughing with their kids over breakfast. He saw young people jogging, looking sharp and full of energy. Those people weren't lucky. They were living on a different frequency. They woke up to conquer the day, while Thomas was dragging his exhausted body home to hide from the sun. He would fall into his dark room at 7:30 a.m., pull the curtains tight, and try to sleep while the rest of the world was out there making money. By the time he woke up at 4 p.m., the banks were closing, the opportunities were gone, and he only had enough time to eat a cheap bowl of noodles before heading back to the warehouse. Thomas wasn't lazy. He worked 60 hours a week, but he was a slave to a schedule designed to keep him exactly where he was. He was consuming time, not creating value. Life doesn't send you a polite letter when it's time to change. It sent an earthquake. One Tuesday morning, as Thomas was locking the warehouse gate, his phone rang. It was his sister, her voice trembling. "Thomas, Mom collapsed. It's her heart. She's in the hospital, and she's asking for you." The 3-hour bus ride back to his village was a long time for self-hatred. When he arrived, the hospital was just a peeling room with an old fan that barely moved the air. His mother looked tiny and weak. Her hands, the same hands that had scrubbed floors for 50 years, were shaking on the bedsheet. The doctor didn't hold back. "It's exhaustion, Thomas. Chronic stress. She needs better food, expensive medicine, and she has to stop working. If she goes back to the fields, she won't make it through the winter." Thomas sat by her bed until she fell asleep. He looked at his own rough hands. He realized if he stayed on this path, he was just a younger version of her. He was trading his health for pennies, and he didn't even have enough pennies to save the person he loved most. At 5 a.m. the next morning, Thomas walked out of the hospital. The village was silent. The air was so cold it hurt to breathe. He stood there and saw a few farmers walking to the fields with lanterns. He realized these men, even though they were poor, they owned the dawn. They were the first ones to touch the new day. "No more," he whispered. Anger felt like gasoline in his veins. "I don't care if I have to skip sleep. I don't care if it's hard. I'm not dying in that warehouse." On the bus back to the city, Thomas saw a man who looked like he belonged on a private jet. He was in his 50s, wearing a coat that cost more than Thomas's apartment. He was focused, taking notes in a leather journal. Thomas recognized him. It was Mr. Chun, the man who owned the biggest retail chain in the area. Thomas looked at the clock. 6 a.m. Why was a millionaire awake and working on a regular bus at dawn? Desperation made Thomas brave. "Sir, why are you up so early? You're rich, why don't you sleep in?" Mr. Chun looked up. He didn't look tired. He looked like he had already won a war. "I'm up because the hours between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. belong to me," Mr. Chun said firmly. "By 9 a.m., I belong to my employees. By noon, I belong to the market. But at 5 a.m., I belong to my future. I've already read 40 pages. I've already planned my next move. While my competitors are still drooling on their pillows, I've already taken the ground." Thomas felt a sting of shame. "I work nights, sir. I'm always awake at 5 a.m., but I feel like I'm dying. I'm stuck." Mr. Chun looked into Thomas's tired eyes. "You're stuck because you're a reactive slave. You wake up to watch someone else's boxes. You aren't building, you're just guarding. Listen to me. The difference between a beggar and a businessman isn't money. It's how they use the magic hours. If you can take back just 2 hours before the world starts screaming at you, you can build a new life in 90 days. But I finish work at 6 a.m., sir. I need sleep." "Then sleep at 6:30, Mr. Chun snapped. "Wake up at 11:30. 5 hours is enough to keep your body running. Then spend the next 2 hours building a skill that people actually want to pay for. Stop watching other people get rich. If you're serious, call me tomorrow. If not, go back to your warehouse." He handed Thomas a business card. Thomas gripped that card so hard his knuckles turned white. He knew this was the soul surgery he needed. He didn't know anything about business or accounting yet, but he knew one thing. Tomorrow morning at 5 a.m., he wasn't going to be a ghost anymore. The next morning at 5 a.m., Thomas's alarm didn't just ring. It screamed. His body felt like it was made of lead. His eyes were burning. Every cell in his brain whispered the same thing. "Just one more hour? You worked all night. You deserve to sleep. This is crazy. This is where 99% of people fail. They wait for motivation to arrive. But motivation is a lie. Discipline is the only thing that's real." Thomas remembered his mother's face in that hospital bed. He remembered the smell of the warehouse. He threw his blanket on the floor and stood up in the dark. The first week was pure physical torture. Thomas was exhausted. He would get home from his shift at 6:30 a.m., crash until 11:30 a.m., and then force himself to stay awake. By 1 p.m., his head would drop onto the table. By 3 p.m., he felt like a zombie. His co-workers at the warehouse laughed at him. "Thomas, you look like death. Why are you skipping sleep? You're just a security guard. Relax." Thomas didn't argue. He realized that when you start changing, the people around you will try to pull you back down. Not because they hate you, but because your progress shines a light on their own laziness. He stayed silent. He stayed focused on his hour one. Mr. Chun told him, "Don't just wake up. Build a skill the market is thirsty for." Thomas looked at the warehouse. It was a mess. Boxes were lost. Inventory was counted by hand on scraps of paper, and the managers were always angry because the numbers never matched. He realized the company needed a numbers guy. Every morning at 5 a.m., while the town was silent, Thomas sat at his small table with a borrowed laptop. He didn't scroll Instagram. He didn't watch the news. He opened YouTube and searched for Excel for beginners. For the first hour, he learned formulas. He learned how to automate data. His eyes burned from the screen, but he kept going. For the second hour, he focused on his body. He walked for 30 minutes in the cold morning air. No music, just silence. He used his time to talk to himself. "I'm not a ghost. I am a businessman in training." By day 21, the hell started to fade. Something strange happened. He woke up at 4:58 a.m., 2 minutes before his alarm. His body had stopped fighting him. His mind was getting sharper. He started seeing the warehouse not as a prison, but as a laboratory. In the second month, Thomas did something dangerous. He brought his 5 a.m. work into his 8 p.m. job. Instead of just sitting in the booth watching cameras, he started building a digital inventory map on his laptop during his breaks. He organized the warehouse data into a clean, automated spreadsheet. He found thousands of dollars in lost inventory that the managers had given up on. One Friday, the warehouse manager, a man who never spoke to Thomas, walked by the booth. He saw the spreadsheet. "What is that?" the manager asked. "It's a real-time inventory tracker, sir," Thomas said calmly. I built it to stop the shipping delays. The manager looked at the screen, then at Thomas. Where did you learn to do this? You're a security guard. I taught myself at 5 a.m., Thomas replied. The manager didn't say anything. He walked away. Thomas thought he was in trouble for using his laptop at work. But 3 days later, he was called into the main office. The office was bright, clean, and smelled like expensive coffee. Mr. Chun was sitting there next to the warehouse owner. Thomas, the owner said, we've been losing $5,000 a month in shipping errors. Your spreadsheet found $12,000 in missing stock in 1 week. We don't need another guy watching cameras. We need someone who understands the books and the floor. He pushed a contract across the table. Day shift, accounting assistant, starting Monday. Your salary will be double what you make now. Do you want it? Thomas looked at Mr. Chun. The old man just winked. Thomas signed the paper. His hands weren't shaking anymore. 1 year later, Thomas moved his mother into a clean, sun-filled apartment. He paid for her surgery. He bought himself his first pair of shoes without holes in them. But here is the secret. He still wakes up at 5 a.m. His co-workers ask him, Thomas, you're the lead accountant now. You made it. Why are you still getting up in the dark? Thomas just smiles. I don't wake up because I have to. I wake up because those 2 hours are where I owe my life. Success isn't a place you arrive at. It's a daily practice. Thomas had nothing. He had no degree, no money, and no sleep. He just had a choice. You're watching this video, which means you have the internet. You have a phone. You have more than Thomas ever had. So what's your excuse? The difference between where you are and where you want to be is exactly what you do between 5 a.m. and 7 a.m. The world is quiet. Your phone isn't ringing. Your boss isn't yelling. This is the only time you can manufacture a new version of yourself. Here is your 90-day challenge. 1. The 5 a.m. alarm. Put your phone in the kitchen so you have to walk to turn it off. 2. The hour 1 skill. Pick one skill: coding, sales, accounting, a new language. Spend 60 minutes on it every morning. 3. The no phone rule. Do not check social media until 8 a.m. Don't let other people's lives distract you from building yours. Comment below with the one skill you are going to learn starting tomorrow morning. I will be reading the comments. Let's hold each other accountable. Stop hitting snooze on your destiny. The door opens at 5 a.m. I'll see you at dawn.